and work on like that papers like that and then bring it up.
Perfect.
So that way it's like hitting more close to home than just, oh, let's do this.
Okay.
I mean, this is for the class. I'm like, don't shoot me down. Just, you know, if that's an idea, like, you know, kind of hitting home to more what we're trying to do.
Okay,
and
so
group up that way.
I like it. I was also just gonna say, like, because I also like the idea of being able to look at an empirical and review, and so then that way it's like maybe like one for both, but I don't want to like add stuff to people because I know we all got other stuff going on too.
well, so you could have one of them be about explicit and the other paper be about implicit. Is that kind of what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're not like all talking about it.
Sure, absolutely, yeah. Why not? Why double dip when we can quadruple dip and have 2 different types of papers, but also on 2 different types of topics?
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Okay.
I like what you're saying. Does that sound like a good addition? Okay. Any other ideas to make it better? Do you guys want to do it as like a PowerPoint where the group makes a presentation to the class? You guys would do it as a poster where the class, where your group makes a poster? PowerPoint? Okay. Do something like that. What?
Extra assignment points.
Extra assignment points?
Yeah, that's a lot of extra work.
I mean, it'll
Help us.
the points that you'll get from it are the points that you're gonna get on your final paper better. Oh, by the way, don't forget we also have participation points in the class.
We do?
Yeah.
Oh,
Pretty sure. Yeah.
Because I don't see you take roll files and you just know everyone's
Right face.
Yeah, we only have a handful, y'all. Yeah.
But you do have other classes like
Yeah, so you're getting credit. Don't you worry.
Okay.
Alright?
just for me.
Could be losing credit too though.
Oh.
Alright, so okay, so does that sound pretty reasonable?
Yeah.
And then you got, even your groups can do, like even your PowerPoint, you can make it, if your group doesn't have time to meet all together at the same time, or you can use it in class time to do that too. You can have your PowerPoint file as a shared file on our Google Drive that everyone can access and make changes to, so you can assign certain sections or slides or topics to different people in class. You can all add them into the same. Do you guys know how to do that? Have you guys done that?
Yeah.
Like shared documents online? Okay, it works out really nice and easily. And I can work with you guys on that too. So why don't we aim for doing that? Do you guys want to self-select your groups, or do you want me to do it?
Can we do it based on like what?
Yeah.
On implicit.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I'm just talking about people. You want me? Do you want me to do this thing and just do this, or you guys want to like just yeah?
Well, for me, like, my hypothesis has nothing to do with explicit or implicit at all.
Well, so you think?
Well, yeah, cause
Not
my.
hypothesis.
Well, no, cause
Okay.
like.
I mean, that's perfectly fine, but it doesn't mean that you can't learn substances from even the process about reading papers and adding to it.
Well, cause like, I thought the same thing too with my hypothesis, and then I came across a paper that infer possible implicit memory with false memory. So
Yeah.
and then I just keep finding everything linking back to explicit, implicit. So,
It kind of does.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, same question. Do you want me to divide you guys, or do you guys just want to kind of like, maybe we put a little sign-up sheet online, you just fill your name in or something like that? And then I'll let you guys pick what kind of paper you want to do, and you can pick your paper, you can consult with me, you can ask me for suggestions, I don't know.
So all we're doing is explaining the paper.
Yeah, you just presented the paper, here's what they did, here's what they found, here's some cool theories or whatever.
Well, can you like show of hands who's doing what?
Yeah,
Like
because-
she was thinking like, what if there's like it's like uneven? There's like 15 people doing one thing, and like there's only actually like 2 people doing it.
Well, there's going to be some stuff like Ryan said, like maybe it might not seem like everyone should definitely have different hypotheses. So not everyone's going to match up. It's not going to be a perfect blend in that regard, but it's an exercise, right? Like it's an exercise in reading papers, in understanding them, and how to digest them to improve our results, or excuse me, to improve our discussions of data. So that we can do that successfully, get better at that for ourselves by working on another paper as an example that's not exactly what we're doing.
Right.
That objective is still achieved. So there's going to have to be a little bit of give and play.
I was gonna say, I'm kind of, at that point, I'm just kind of down to just split the room.
Yeah, I gotta agree.
You know, I'm just kind of doing
You guys just want to do that? Is that easier?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, since we don't have a class that really talks, so.
We could though. You guys could talk more.
I mean, I've,
Okay.
you know.
Let's just, how many people want to, let's do it this way. Forget about topics, because that's, we're never going to get everybody matched on the same topics. So that's a silly endeavor that would try to pursue. How about just, how many people would be interested in reading, working on an empirical paper of actual results, and how many people would want to do a theoretical one? So let's do empirical. A couple people? Okay. What about, everybody wants to do like the review paper? Oh, nobody wants to do that. Oh, goodness.
I mean,
Sorry, Annalena, it's only Fitria wanted to do your paper.
Look at that, it's really-
But, I mean, so I thought you guys wanted to do this.
Not all review papers are like 77 pages long.
No. Let's you can get you know where's really good review papers? Basically, a journal called Trends in Cognitive Science. It's shortened as TICS, T-I-C-S. And they're usually 7 to 10 pages max. They're designed to be general reviews. Yeah, so they're pretty good. Those are the ones I would recommend. Or similar ones, because you know the 30-page ones are great too. But just at an efficiency level, I think that you guys might be better served by the shorter ones. Yeah.
I don't mind doing it. I don't know what the class is thinking at this point, but I think it's a cool idea. Whoever is on board for it, is on board for it. It's
Okay.
cool.
Let's aim for that.
Yeah.
Sound good? We can do a 50-50 split. Sounds like, since nobody else wants to talk or say anything,
Yeah.
Ryan liked the empirical side, I'm hearing review side on here, so why don't we say this side of the class, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, this is actually perfect. So just right down here, you guys can, and if you want, I can give you a paper as an empirical paper, but you guys have been reading them too. So find one that doesn't make sense, that could use a little bit of help from me, and we can do that. And same thing over here. You guys can find a TICS paper or something else like that as a review. And maybe next Wednesday. Do you guys want to do it next Monday or next Wednesday?
Next Wednesday.
Well, Monday's Memorial Day.
Oh, it is?
Oh, yeah. So I guess we have a person out here.
Are we not supposed to have class then?
No.
You can be here.
I was gonna say also, Dr. Addante, it is my birthday that weekend.
Hey!
I'd like to not,
All right.
just chill for a bit.
All right, so let's aim for the following Wednesday. Not this upcoming one, but right?
Much appreciated.
Does that sound reasonable? And it should, by the way, guys, don't put a lot of stress on yourselves with this. You know, this should be a reasonable thing to just should just be a practice walkthrough. It should not be a huge endeavor. Yes, sir.
We'll have some time today to kind of figure things out.
Trends in
right?
cognitive science.
Oh yeah. So, we'll be done today by 3, by the way. So you'll have plenty of time.
Happy early birthday to me.
Yeah, happy early birthday, Kelsey.
Okay.
So, does that sound pretty reasonable? Okay.
The paper with the reviews, it says trends in
Cognitive science.
Trends in Cognitive Science is one journal that does those. That's very nice. But there's others.
Oh.
There's Trends in Neuroscience, TINS. They're also very good. Okay. So, okay. So we have the presentations. Okay. How many people have tried to take a stab at improving their papers since they got the reviews and the feedback back? Hope you guys have. Okay. So, how many of you guys would like a way to earn some points back on the papers? So, you guys? How many of you guys would not like ways to earn points back on the papers? Okay.
What kind of question is that?
Well, not everybody raised their hand when I asked the first one.
Well, then they don't have to do it.
Yeah.
I was saying they're shy.
Okay. Anyway, so what I wanted to do was offer you a chance to get some points back on the paper from this past week. And basically, if you take the feedback, you take the edits, turn it back in. You can get 25% of the points missed back on the paper. Let's aim to get that in by. Basically, I don't have time to drag out the assignment any longer, and I know you guys want to move on to the next thing. So let's get it in by noon tomorrow. Okay. If you want to get earn credit back on the paper, take the feedback that was offered. Hopefully, some of you guys have said you've already adopted that feedback and integrated it in, so it should not be too big of a project to integrate. But if you can do that and send it back in a better, more shaped up form, then shoot it back by noon tomorrow. Does that sound pretty reasonable? And we'll get you 25% back if the feedback was taken correctly and the steps taken to accommodate it was also correct. Does that sound reasonable? Okay. Any questions? Okay, so there's a lot of opportunities to get points here. A lot of ways to build people back up into success. Develop really what should be our big goal, this second paper. Okay? Multiple hypotheses, okay? Multiple experiments, and a discussion that integrates that to a cohesive message. Sound good? And all it is just doing the same thing we just did for one, now you just add 1 or 2 more things. But together, over our 10 weeks, it's going to add up into something really, really nice, I think, that you can be proud of. And so, let's see here. Let me walk through and explain a couple things of what I was aiming for the next section. Maybe give you guys something to work with here, okay? Not bad with that. So we did. Oh no, it's awake. Anyways, so
I was gonna ask, we're never gonna book a speaker in that building again, right?
never.
Okay, good.
No. Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot. So you guys, yeah, did you guys like to talk?
Oh, it was
Yeah, it was
awesome.
awesome.
Dr. Nason?
Yeah.
He's a very humble guy.
Yeah.
Really would have been pissed after all. I'm never coming.
Yeah, that was so embarrassing. Oh my goodness. Because the sound kept going off and like the alarms, and we didn't know how to.
I've never
I
had
was
that happen
mortified.
ever. Not
Yeah, I
even.
had class in that room last quarter either. You're like never.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like everything that was probably like happening with everyone's like worse.
Thank you guys for coming. For those of you guys who came, hopefully you guys found a really interesting talk, really unique insight into someone who's done something very historic.
I was gonna say it kind of added that kind of thing because it's like one thing to read about, like, oh yeah, patient HM, you read about it, it's interesting and it's kind of fun conversation, I guess. But then like it's cool to actually be like, that's the dude who actually like made like slides in his brain.
But he didn't just make the slides of the brain.
But, like,
He took
the-
his brain out of his skull.
Yeah.
And did-
Like that's
And carefully and
very,
precisely.
very, very carefully. Absolutely.
And froze
So
it
it's-
very like on point.
Yeah.
I
So.
also took notes at one point. I don't know. I found it kind of fascinating that myelin binds, or silver binds to myelin. So I went silver binds to myelin. Cool.
Yeah.
It was really interesting. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I'm really glad that you guys liked it and got some value out of
Just
it.
like, I don't think
Is
that-
there? I was gonna ask. Is there a way like to be able to visit his like the brain society?
Field trip?
Yes and no.
Just kidding.
Yes and no. So we asked him about that,
Okay.
and he said absolutely he would welcome us to come visit the lab. However, it's still in building form right now, so he's still like reconstructing it. So he moved from UC San Diego to establish his own institute, and so it's still kind of in construction.
Okay.
So when it's ready, he says he wants to welcome students from CSUSB to come visit and possibly even go and get internships and jobs and research opportunities, which is basically why I'm building this class, because I want to be able to give people the skills so that I can recommend them to him and say, yes, please hire these guys. Here's what they know how to do, and they know how to do it well.
Because it's like really special what he's doing. Like, I don't know. I love old people. Like, it's just my area of like, that's just my heart. It's just the elderly, and it brought me kind of cheesy. It brought me to tears when I saw the images of those like, those donors, and and I can see why he's doing it with the research assistants. They do handle it with more care because there's an attachment,
Right.
you know what I mean? So, and it becomes more meaningful. You work that much harder, and so on and so forth. So that is something that I've never seen in research, and it's, and I told them that here in our anatomy physiology lab, like, we're so curious when we're working with cadavers. Well, what's wrong with this cadaver? Oh, I don't know. We're not supposed to know. And and part of me was like that. This was probably someone's dad, someone's mother, And I get the not like it has to be anonymous, but there's something to be said if you kind of know the background of the person. It's still a person.
Yeah.
More, and oftentimes you treat it like it's just a specimen.
Yeah.
So,
Well, we treat our own work like that, right?
Right.
Like you get up and you're like, all right, I gotta go to work today. And, like you had a rough night or whatever, and it's just another day at the office. But how much more special do we value our time when we can actually appreciate what we're doing with it, and the opportunities to work with somebody's really special specimen. That was their life. That is who they were, and it's something that we take our own time for granted working on those things. And like he said, if any guys missed his talk, he said that when they work with the anatomical slices of the brains now, when he gets donors, that he cultivates the relationships with the donors while they're still alive, and that the people in the lab get to know the people, the research workers and all that. So, and he said that if you want to have your research workers stop accidentally, like, dropping slides and breaking them, get them to know the donors. Because now when you're working with the slide of someone's brain, it's not just someone's brain. It's Bob Fernandez, the guy that you were talking to last week and was telling you funny jokes about his grandkids. What it was like when he, fought in Iwo Jima in World War II, and his life with his wife for the and you take that slide of the brain with so much more reverence and respect, and leads to better data. You're not dropping the data. You're treating it better, and you value your own time. Actually, it's more meaningful and rewarding for what we do then too. Yes, Kelsey.
It's actually an interesting thing because they tell you, like, especially when you do like research with people, you want to try not to get too attached, but I think that's using that attachment for good, like.
Yeah.
Because then it's like you can't help how you feel, but like you can kind of channel it in a way that actually makes it to where you're more reverent to the data, you're more reverent to what you're collecting and what you're doing.
Yeah, we gotta have that balance.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good. So, along those lines, talking about patients, talking about clinical things, talking about those elements and that reverence for data that people have actually contributed, which, by the way, you guys all have data with people too. You guys all collected data with people, and some of them might have been your mom, your dad, your brother, your friend, your coworker. Those are people's data, and we need to respect that too. I mean, we take that kind of for granted as well, but that's real stuff too. So, what I'd like to do is introduce you guys to kind of what I wanted to move towards then in the next steps to help start the process of developing those next hypotheses and analyses and guide you towards that. So, the first thing, hopefully everybody saw this note on the side that said, please don't download the folder from the drive. Basically, I added a folder called Data for Section 2. So if you just find that in our folder, hopefully you did that earlier in the class and that's all downloaded or whatever. If you haven't, go ahead and download it. It'll probably take 5 minutes or so. And what that is a folder of data, of EEG, from a large group of subjects. Some of those patients, some of those people in those subjects are actually patients who have clinical brain damage from various types of things, traumatic brain injury from car accidents, mild hypoxia, which came about from heart attacks and things of that nature, resulted in selective hippocampal damage. They're some of the rarest patients available, or really not available at all, because it's very, very difficult to find these patients. Okay, so you guys have a very, very extraordinary opportunity the next couple weeks to work with data that most scientists in the field of memory will complete their career with never having access to. They're the patients that I recorded for my dissertation research. They've been published twice in 2 of the papers that we referred to in class. So the data has been validated in that regard. And really nobody else on Earth has this kind of data that has our paradigm of item memory confidence and source memory confidence responding in a group of patients with selective hippocampal damage. There's 1 or 2 papers out there that have done similar studies, but on a single case study of patient John. So those papers are ones that you want to cite, probably in your reviews or discussion. By author, the first author of that paper was Duzel, D-U-Z-E-L, and he had several papers basically from 1999 to 2001 that included a case study of a patient with hippocampal damage, patient John. But he did not use item confidence responding nor source memory. It was basic item recognition, just hits and just correct rejections of old new judgments. He didn't get the specificity that we get to understand processes like recollection and familiarity from our confidence ratings. So remember earlier in the class we talked about how powerful of a tool it is behaviorally to use these confidence responses? Well, we have that in this data. Other papers and researchers who have collected similar data from patients with selective hippocampal damage did not do so with physiology. So they only had behavioral measurements. This is a very rare and special opportunity that I'd like to share with you guys. Something very near and dear to my heart because I spent 5 or 6 years of my life working with these patients and collecting them. I do know them personally. I've seen them. I've seen their memory deficits. I've seen the struggles that they can have in life from the amnesia deficits. And so I want to embark on this next stage of the class and sharing this data with you by underscoring what you ladies were mentioning from the talk from Dr. Nese, which is the real respect for these patients and what they've contributed by volunteering their time and their struggles to helping us understand this a little bit better. So what we'll do is you can start developing some hypotheses basically about what is the role of the hippocampus and the medial temporal lobe structures. Okay, so it's things like questions like what is the role of the hippocampus and or medial temporal lobe structures in cognitive processes such as memory, attention, or even brain states. So we'll get to that in just a second here. Okay? So this isn't quite a hypothesis yet, is it? This is really more of a question, right? Or a theoretical question or within a model. It addresses issues of models or accounts of neural and cognitive processing. Okay, but we can develop this into more specific hypotheses, really related to the questions that you've been asking. Okay? So we talked about memory, right? You can ask and make some hypotheses about explicit memory or about implicit memory. Memory, right? Within explicit memory, you can carve your hypotheses into things about recollection or familiarity. All right, so we can already start to carve these things into different hypotheses about different memory processes. Okay? You can also talk about things with attention. Now, we haven't talked a lot about that in here, but you most certainly could. Based on our reaction time measures, you could see, basically, if the physiology differs based on reaction times, and you can create correlation plots, right, between things like reaction times and, say, physiology. Now, attention measures might be something like the N2PC, which is discussed in Dr. Luck's book earlier in the quarter. In the opening chapters, he talks a lot about attention. That happens to be his research area. You can find citations to research that he's done on that, or that Dr. Jesse Bankson has done, or that Dr. Ali Mazahiri has done, They all publish together, and you can find a lot of their papers. They do things by look at the N2PC, which is a ERP very early in time, as opposed to our FN400 or LPC that's going to happen later. So it's just another effect. Our textbook describes that in more detail if you're interested in developing hypotheses about attention. We also had other hypotheses people have been working on about confidence. Right? You can look at different confidence ratings, 5s versus 4s, just high confidence versus low confidence, 5s versus 1s, 2s versus 4s. Okay? Is that what you were doing, Ryan? I forget. You had that confidence thing?
I put that in my methods,
Yeah.
but I did correct projection because.
Oh, okay, cool. So you were doing more of the explicit.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, what do you mean the research stuff wouldn't have anything to do with your explicit memory?
Because she said implicit.
Okay.
I'm not doing it.
Okay, see, I remember.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So we can have, hypotheses about memory, about attention, about confidence. Now, what about brain states? We talked about that too, right?
Remember we were talking about alpha waves.
About what?
We were talking about alpha waves.
Oh yeah, alpha waves and brain
We
states.
didn't completely delete them when we were working with them.
Yeah. So, do you guys remember when we were working with the data, we talked about processing it with baseline correction? Right, where I was correcting? So, what I'm going to do is in the data that we download, and we'll walk through it in a little bit, I've pre-processed the data so that it's not baseline corrected. Okay, so what that means is that if this is our stimulus onset, right? So here, time point 0, okay? Now as time moves along, right, you're going to have your physiological waves move like this, right? And we've always looked at parts in the data, right? We've looked at the LPC. Oh, that's no good, huh? You have the LPC here, right? So that was about, say, 600 to 900 milliseconds, right? We've also looked at the FN400, right? All these are basically post-stimulus onset. But what you can do is you can start to look for brain states related to cognition, in that maybe the state of the brain that it's in before the stimulus shows up on the screen, maybe back here, maybe that's actually going to be different based on, so let's say the black line is when people remember an item, and maybe your condition, because you use bin operations in your events list to create different ERPs and different conditions, maybe you have another condition here. Maybe the green line is when people forgot. So you have times when people remembered versus when they forgot. And here, check it out. As you move along post-stimulus onset, those ERPs don't differ much, do they? Maybe, this is a cartoon, right? I'm just drawing it. But maybe you'll find when you explore the data with your own hypotheses that if you look before the stimulus comes on the screen, that there could be a difference such that brain activity could be raised higher beforehand, predicts, or will lead someone to give a response that they remember something, versus if brain activity is lower beforehand, maybe that leads them to forget what is about to be seen. Okay? Now we can expand upon this in further classes, but I want you to introduce the concept and the idea, because these are all different types of hypotheses, or different types of things that you could begin to add and develop hypotheses on. Okay? So these are all new variables that we're introducing that can be explored and assessed by comparing different conditions. Okay? Now, so that's basically what we call pre-stimulus effects. Now you can do that for attention, you can do that for memory. Yes, Patricia?
If it was a pre-stimulus like effect, for instance,
Yeah.
the forgot, could that, I mean, I don't know. Is it like, can we like associate it with like the consolidation period?
It could be.
Okay.
That is definitely one possible thing you might be able to try to associate with it in the discussion or the introduction, or use that idea in the introduction to motivate testing a hypothesis about pre-stimulus, because maybe you've read the literature and you have some ideas about how consolidation might be affecting memory, or if something's consolidated or if it's not. Therefore, this is a reason why we should look at this pre-stimulus time period. Oh, we looked there, here's what we found in the results, now it's time to discuss it. In discussion, you elaborate upon what you introduced and say, yeah, so this is what we found. We were initially motivated and interested to look at this area before stimulus onset because of the researchers have linked that to something that might be related to consolidation or not. Since this is what we found, here's how what our results are fit within what other researchers have found about consolidation. And then, building upon that, here's what we think. We add new to the story about how consolidation might affect memory or what have you. So you guys see how we kind of work through the logic of using just one idea of consolidation to build how we frame a discussion? Right? And that was just hypothetical. But we can work with all you guys individually on doing that for your respective findings. And that's what I want to see. That's what we're expecting in a discussion section. And it's as easy as that, of being able to say what I just said within 4 or 5 minutes in response to one question about consolidation. We'll just do that about each of your respective things. How's that sound? Okay, so then what we will also have, the last variable over here, is, as I mentioned, the hippocampus that we can start making hypotheses about. Now, here's the thing. You have a sample size in that folder. Your sample size is, I believe, 58. Okay? Of that 58, you have a sample size of 3 that are hippocampal patients, amnesias. Okay? You also have a sample size of 6 that are matched controls. Okay, so why is it important that we have matched controls when we work with clinical patient populations? Exactly. Great job, Elizabeth. Yeah, so you want to compare findings of what is maybe a deficit, or perhaps what type of memory is perfectly fine with hippocampal amnesia. Both are true. In order to convince the haters at the bar who don't believe your results, you need to be able to compare that, like Fisher said, to a control group. A group of people who are exactly as close as possible to those patients, but without suffering the medical clinical damage, that is neuropathology to the hippocampus. Okay? So these tend to be people who have roughly a college education for this particular case that we're working on. They have roughly equal gender proportions. They have basically the only way they're different from our healthy college-age students, basically you guys, is the fact that they happen to be middle-aged. Otherwise, they're the same demographic profile, same information, and so it really just varies as a function of age. So they're an average age of about 50. And that information's in my, I think, a 2015 paper. It tells those demographic information about those subjects. Okay? Same thing with the hippocampals. And then, you've got whatever that is, 9 minus 8, so whatever D8 minus 9 is going to be 47. No? Is that 40? Did I get the math wrong? No. Yeah. It wouldn't be 47, it would be 49 actually. So you're going to have a sample size of 49 that are healthy, young adults. So, in that folder, Site 433X, the data for Section 2, okay, when you download it, you're going to see a ton of files. 58 basically times 2, because we know our EEG data comes in two little companion files, right? So you're going to have whatever that is, 116 files. Big file, big folder, but they should be downloaded by now. When you open them, you'll see just a big list of files, right? And just like you guys are all experts of now in class, you'll see that they all say our long file names of everything that's been done to them, processing-wise. Okay? So, we can begin to explore data for our hippocampal patients, for our age-matched controls, and our young controls. All right? Now, I'm not going to tell you which ones are which just yet. Okay? But we'll get there in just a little bit. Let me erase this, and we'll work on a couple features. What it is. Okay? Okay, so let's take a look. If I bring up my MATLAB here, and 3 data, and let's see. Downloads. That'll come back in a second. But anyways, point is, we type in EEG lab to begin. It'll open up. Oh, does it fail? I'll have to redo that. So what I'll do is I'll just show you that I will basically load an existing data set. I'm actually going to navigate to my own file for that, which is data, and basically it'll look like this. So let's say I grab subject 3. Okay. So, you guys want to snag the lights in back? It's going to be easier to see. Or is that a lot better? Awesome. Okay. So, I basically loaded in this case I started with subject 3. And very similar to the data that you guys worked with, I think it goes 3 to 27, and then a bunch of numbers, 31 through basically 40, 58 or so. And then there's subjects in the 80s and there's some subjects in the 90s. Okay? I'm just going to start at the bottom, just like Drake. We start at the lowest number, like 3.
You're still using
What's that?
it. Still using that.
That's all I got. Love it. You guys got to get...
No, I made my friend laugh by just being like mentioning the haters at the bar with the haterade, and my friend like freaking died.
That's funny.
It's just follows me around.
See, I can't even make people laugh with it anymore. But you guys got to give me some new jokes to use. Okay? I'm relying on you, Love It.
Oh no.
You got to make me do better than Drake. Okay? It can't be that hard, right?
Alright.
Because Drake's pretty, well.
Not that bad.
Okay. Anyways. So, point is, we're starting at subject 3. It's been resampled, there's been an events list, we sliced it into epics. Okay? So again, in our file name, we can see it has an events list, it's been epicked, and I even did a process called ICA that I ran on it that you can ignore for now. But that just tells you what we've done to the data. We know that we have, so a couple things you might notice. We have averaged, of course, our references are the average of the left and the right mastoid. Okay? LM, left mastoid. RM is right mastoid. It says that the channel locations has not been applied, but I'm pretty sure it has. I think that's just a function, just an error that it just didn't recognize, but I'm pretty sure we've applied channel locations. And the thing that I wanted to draw your attention to as well is that we have, in this case, 265 events. Okay? So 265 events, we should have 300, right? What the heck? Why did that happen? Well, it turns out that when we do this process called ICA, which is Independent Components Analysis, ICA, okay? What that is it's a way to help us start to clean the data, okay? And what it will do is, before it processes the data, it finds the very, 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 very worst trials and it throws them out. Now, the data's still not clean yet. It's just a little tidier. You still need to go in there and clean it up a little bit,
Yeah.
but you've got a head start. So, but when it does that, you're naturally not going to have 300 trials anymore, are you? No, that's okay. So that's what we have here, and of course that's the same as our epics. So I just wanted to start by showing you that. Just a basic orientation of the structure of the data, okay? So here we are, I've loaded in subject 3, and what we're going to need to do is what we've done before. We've got to plot, channel, data, scroll. We've got to clean this data up a little bit. So I'm going to type in 75 for my view again. And you guys remember all this fun time? Yeah? Okay, you guys are really good at this. Okay? So, what you'll need to do is basically come in and clean the data. We got to clean up things like that blank. There's actually 2 more blanks over here. Now, a couple things to notice. Okay? Because I wanted to help you pursue these new hypotheses where you can look at the stuff happening before the trial, for if you're interested in brain states. Okay? We've opened up, so this is our stimulus onset here, right? Right, so time point 0. Remember when we did this before, we went negative 200 milliseconds? You guys all remember?
Yeah.
Okay, I've changed that now this time. I've given it to you guys such that it goes all the way back to about negative 1,000 instead of 200.
And this is already preset up.
Yeah, I've already preset this up for you guys. I've already done this. Okay? So, this is actually the whole epic there. Okay? And that's what you'll see. So if we, just like as you guys are experts, if I grab that trial over here, see how it goes all the way out to there, but it comes all the way back to about 1,200 milliseconds prior. So that allows us to look at these windows of brain activity happening before the cognition. Which is really cool, because now we can tie in the underlying neurobiology that's happening way before you're even aware of it and relate that to what actually happens when you see something you remember. Okay? So anyways, that's the idea with the data. And so what we got to do is basically just clean it up and reject those trials. Okay? So let me show you